Hello everyone, how are you today? Welcome to Tall Tales with Alex, your gateway into a universe of adventure and discovery. It's so great to have you with me for today's journey. We're going to use our imaginations today, so get ready to think up all kinds of amazing things. Maybe you could keep using your imagination to do some drawings of our adventure today. I'd love to see what you create. To the parents, guardians and teachers, you can find me at Tall Tales Alex on Twitter and Tall Tales with Alex on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to be the first to find out when a new story has been uploaded. Now, let's dive into a world of imagination. We're back with the cheeky pair of River and today. Can you imagine if you found a monkey where you live? That would be a bit of a surprise, wouldn't it? It's pretty lucky for River that is such a polite and clever monkey. If you remember, had escaped from a zoo and run for miles and miles before falling asleep in the tree in River's garden. That's where River found him and was amazed to learn that spoke human. The two became friends right away, and River even revealed to that he was a superhero. Not only that, but his friend Leila was a superhero too. And that is where our journey with the funny pair begins today. Okay, I hope you're comfy. It's time to use our imaginations. Let's begin. River walked through the back doors of his house and into his garden. It was a lovely, bright, sunny day. River loved it when it was such a nice day. He lived near the beach, so when the weather was nice and warm, it meant he could go down to the beach and play. But today, there was only one thing River could think of. The monkey. He walked to the bottom of the tree at the bottom of his garden and looked up to find he wasn't on the lowest branch. He wasn't on the next branch. River looked even higher, and there, right on the top branch, was fast asleep. River listened very closely and could hear the faint of snoring in the sun. River wasn't surprised that was asleep. When it was really warm, River often felt sleepy as well. He thought about his neighbour's cat, Alonso, and how much he liked to stretch out in the sunshine and have a long nap. He remembered something his mumma and dadda had told him, that in a country called Spain, it was sometimes so hot that everyone stopped what they were doing in the middle of the day and had a nap. I think it must be that everyone in the world likes to have a nap when it's warm, thought River. People, cats, and even monkeys. Then he had another thought. I wonder how fish nap. How do you think fish nap? But that was something he would have to find out another time. Right now, he needed to figure out how he was going to wake up when he was all the way at the top of the tree. First of all, how do you wake a sleeping monkey from so far away? Secondly, how do you wake a monkey without surprising them right out of the tree? Nobody likes being scared awake. River would have to think of a way to wake gently. He thought about the way he liked to be woken up most, which was usually very quietly and slowly. So he looked up towards the top of the tree and whispered, "Excuse me." Nothing happened. "Excuse me." Still, did not stir. River tried a third time. "Excuse me." But it was no use. Stayed fast asleep. River thought about another way he could try and wake him up. He thought about how sometimes you might wake up if something made your bed shake. So he walked up to the trunk of the tree and knocked on it. Knock, knock, knock. But nothing happened. Knock, 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 he went again. But as hard as he knocked, it wasn't hard enough to make the tree shake. I know what might work, thought River. I could kick my ball against the tree and see if that will be big enough to wake. Now, River could kick a ball well, but he knew that if you wanted to kick a ball at your very best, you need to wear special shoes. So he went inside and found his football boots. They were bright blue. River had picked the colour himself. He put them on and made his way outside, picking up his ball on the way. He placed it in front of the tree, took a step back, and kicked the ball against the trunk as hard as he could. Thud went the ball. River looked up. Did it work? Was he awake? Nope. Went. River was going to need to kick it even harder. So he placed the ball down in front of the tree once more, but this time he took 10 steps back so he could get a run-up before the kick. He ran towards the ball as fast as he could, which was extremely fast indeed, and struck the ball. Thud! The tree gave a little shake. River looked up hopefully. Stirred just a little, and then continued to sleep. But if had stirred, then that meant River's plan was nearly working. He picked up the ball once again and placed it down in front of the tree. The first time River had tried, he had taken 1 step back. The second time River had tried, he took 10 steps back. But now River walked all the way to the other side of his garden to get an enormous run-up before kicking the ball. He took a deep breath and then ran as fast as he could towards the ball and kicked it with all of his might. The ball flew like a rocket and thudded against the bottom of the tree. The tree gave a shiver all the way up to its very highest branches, right up to the branch that was resting on. The sleeping monkey shook ever so slightly with the branch, stirred, then stirred again, before opening one eye and letting out an enormous yawn. He opened his other eye, stretched out his arms as wide as he could, and then rubbed his face sleepily. He looked around, blinking in confusion, and holding one hand up to shield his eyes from the sun. He looked towards the ground and saw his new friend River staring back up at him with a big smile and waving one hand in the air.
"Hello, River. How are you? I must say I was just having the most peculiar dream. I could hear someone calling out to me, but no matter where I looked for them, I just couldn't see them."
"That was me," River called back. "I was calling out to you to try and wake you up, but you were so fast asleep that you didn't stir one bit."
"Well, you'll never guess what happened next in my dream. Suddenly I was in a house and I could hear somebody knocking at my door. But every time I went to the door and opened it, there was nobody there."
River laughed and said, "That was me as well. I was knocking on the tree like a door, but you still wouldn't wake up."
"Well then, why on earth was there an earthquake in my dream? The ground began to shake and shudder, and then I woke up."
River picked up his ball and said, "Watch this," before kicking it as hard as he could against the tree. Felt the vibration ripple up the tree as the ball hit it.
"I see," he cried. "Everything you were doing to try and wake me up, I was hearing and feeling in my sleep, and so it began to happen in my dream. Oh, how funny! Aren't dreams a peculiar thing?"
"I don't know," said River. "What does peculiar mean?"
"Ah, a peculiar thing is something that is strange or odd, but often funny at the same time."
River thought for a second and said, "Well, I definitely have peculiar dreams a lot then. Sometimes I don't even remember them when I wake up." Climbed down the tree, branch by branch, moving so fast and smoothly that he was down on the ground before River could say, "Wow!"
"Right," said. "If I remember rightly, you said that I was going to meet another superhero today. Your friend. What was her name?"
"Oh, yes, let's take you to meet Leila," River replied with a huge grin on his face, beaming from ear to ear. She's brilliant! I know that you two are going to get on really well. I've also got some other friends that I think you should meet too. All my friends are really nice, funny, and clever, just like you.
Well, that sounds splendid, said Prrrpt. I'd love to meet them soon, but let's go and meet Leila now. I can't wait to see her cartwheels that you told me about.
Together, the pair made their way down the street towards Leila's house. And as they were walking down the street, on the other side of the road, they passed by a large black and white cat. The cat's fur was shiny and smooth. Look, that's Alonso. He's a cat that lives around here. He loves sunshine, and when it's warm, he takes long naps. His favourite place to nap is in Leila's garden, on top of a brick wall. When the bricks have been in the sun for a while, they get as warm as an oven. That's his favourite time to nap there. Turned around to Alonso and called out,
Meow!
River was very surprised when Alonso stopped, turned to face them, and replied with, Meow! Alonso walked to the edge of the road, looked both ways to make sure there were no cars, then slinked across to the side of the road that they were on.
Oh, I don't just speak monkey and human language. I speak all kinds of different animal languages.
You really are a very clever monkey, River said, extremely impressed by his new friend. Alonso walked up to and gave him a quick sniff before stroking his cheek against his fur. I think he likes you, said River. Can you say hello from me, please? Turned to the cat and let out a soft purring noise. Alonso replied with a soft purr in return.
He says hello and that he thinks your blue shoes are very cool.
Oh, thank you very much, said River. That's kind. I wonder what his cat name is.
I'll ask him,
said before turning to the black and white cat, and the two purred softly back and forth between one another. Eventually, Alonso said, Meow, turned back to River and said,
Apparently his cat name is
Meow.
But I told him that all the humans call him Alonso, and he said he thinks it's a splendid name.
Well, Alonso, it was nice to meet you properly, but we've got to go and meet somebody else now. My friend Leila. She lives in the house whose garden you like to sleep in. Maybe we'll see you there soon. And the pair waved goodbye to their new furry friend and continued on their way to Leila's house. That's her house there, River said, pointing ahead. The house he was pointing at was bright yellow, with a dark blue door and dark blue window frames. In the front garden were all kinds of wonderful brightly coloured flowers. From flower to flower, there were bees buzzing. Looked nervously at them floating around. Well, there weren't any bees at the zoo. He didn't know what to think of them. Don't worry, said River. My mama and dada have told me all about bees, about how we don't need to be scared of them. Bees are much more scared of us than we are of them. Plus, they help make all the flowers grow. If we didn't have bees, then we wouldn't have all the amazing plants and flowers that make up our planet. Relaxed a lot when River told him this. Then he found it funny that he'd been scared of something so tiny and helpful for the whole world. As they walked through the garden and up to Leila's front door, said a little thank you to each and every bee that he passed. He wanted to shake their hands, but they were so small that he couldn't see if they had hands to shake. And being so much bigger than them, he wanted to make sure he didn't accidentally hurt them. River went up to Leila's door and held up his hand to knock. But just before he did, he stopped and turned to and said with a smile, Watch this. This is the secret knock that Leila and I use to let each other know that it's us at the door. It's our special superhero knock, and nobody knows it except us. And he knocked on the door with a knockety knock knock, knockety knock knock, knock knock. From inside they heard a voice call, I'll get it. River suddenly had a thought. Quick, hide in that bush over there, he said. It might be a bit of a shock for her to open the door and see a monkey on her doorstep. She won't be expecting that. So, made a quick dash towards the large flowery bush by the door, just in time as it swung open. There in the doorway was a young girl wearing dungarees and boots. She had her hair up in 2 puffs with bright blue scrunchies on top of her head. "Wow, Leila, you must be boiling hot in those dungarees," said River. Leila smiled and said, "Well, we're in the back garden planting a whole new bed of flowers, and my mummy says it's very important to always be prepared for the job in hand." River thought this was a very good point, and he also happened to think the dungarees were very cool. "Sorry, River," said Leila. "I don't know if I can come out to be a superhero with you right now. We've still got loads to do in the back garden." "Oh, I think you're going to want to see this," River replied, unable to hide the enormous smile that went from cheek to cheek. Leila looked curious. She knew River would only be this excited about something if it was really cool. "Okay, I'm interested. What have you got to show me?" she asked. River paused for a moment and then said, "It's not what I've got to show you, it's who." Leila looked at River with a very confused expression. "Do you promise you won't make a loud noise?" asked River. "River, I'm the cartwheel kid. I'm strong, fast and brave. Nothing's going to scare me. Just tell me who it is," said Leila. River turned around to the bush where was hiding and said, "It's okay. You can come out now." And slowly stepped out of the bush and into the sunlight, waving with a grin at Leila. And that is where we're going to leave this story. But don't worry, we'll be back with Leila, River and next week. Could you see what Alonso the cat looked like in your mind when I described him? How about Leila in her dungarees and boots? What do you think Leila's reaction to is going to be? Maybe you could use your imagination to draw something. I'd love to see what you make. Maybe you could even write a story of your own. If you're enjoying Tall Tales with Alex, don't forget to tell your friends about it. It would be amazing to share these journeys with even more children. There's loads more adventures to go on. So don't forget to subscribe and follow to be the first to find out when a new story is ready to listen to. Parents, guardians and teachers, you can find me at Tall Tales Alex on Twitter and Tall Tales with Alex on Instagram. I'm already looking forward to our next adventure. See you then.